Brad Williams, Frugal Finance, a swap application. This is going to be a wrap of swaptions. Here we're going to look at continuing with the term structure environment from our previous example. We now consider a swaption application. Viewing the term structure data over here on the right from time zero, a bond portfolio managers consider entering a pay fixed plain vanilla interest rate swap with a tenure of 5 years, a notional principal of $50 million, and semi-annual payments, similar to what we were discussing earlier, but we're going to extend and cancel swaps. That's the purpose of this final tutorial. The manager is somewhat uneasy about the tenure of the swap and would like to know how much it would cost to have the option to cancel the swap after 3 years or extend it for another 2 years at the same rate as the plain vanilla swap. Well, just think about that. First and foremost, why would you do that? Okay, why would you be holding and then possibly canceling and extending? Your decision making, you really need to pin it down. If you're just doing some pricing, that's fine, but implementing, that's two different scenarios. But think through your process and why you would do this, and the costs are going to be ridiculous. As you saw from the previous pricing, how expensive it was. We're going to look at this extendable and cancelable swaps, and the prices are going to be ridiculous. That being said, the relevant rules for this situation are as follows. Extendable pay fixed swap equals a pay vanilla pay fixed swap plus a payer swaption. The cancelable pay fixed swap, plain vanilla pay fixed swap plus a receiver swaption. Specifically, to extend the swap for 2 additional years, the manager needs a payer swaption with a maturity of 5 years and an underlying swap of 2 years and a strike rate equal to the rate on the initial 5-year plain vanilla swap that she's contemplating. To cancel the swap after 3 years, the manager will need a receiver swaption with a maturity of 3 years and an underlying swap with a tenure of 2 years, strike rate that equals the fixed rate on the 5-year plain vanilla swap. A lot of work to do this. To evaluate the issue fully, the manager needs to know the swap rate for 3 swaps. The 5-year plain vanilla swap, the 2-year swap to begin in 3 years that underlies the swaption for the cancelable swap ranging from year 3 to year 5, and the 2-year swap to begin in 5 years that underlies the swaption for the extendable swap ranging from years 5 to year 7. Based on the data in table 2213, where the subscripts range over the semi-annual periods, we have the following. Overlook some of the rounding issues here. We're going to have this 8.31229 and then 83 In order to identify this semi-annual annual rates, we're going to have to look at the zeros. So what we do here is we look over in our series of zero data. We're going to add up the 10 years right here. You see this right here? So we have 8.312. You look at 9709, 0939, 907. And you could see, and I did the best I could in terms of typing this data in, but a simple error can go a long way in terms of wrong pricing. So just be extremely careful when you're doing this. And we're going out and we go through the 10th payment here. Then we're going to do the exact same thing with the forward. We're looking at 0295. Here we have the forward, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Why? In order to compute the semi-annual payment for the 10 periods or the 5 years, we're going to take forwards and divide them by zeros. So you're going to get 3.62, and then we're just going to multiply it times 2. We're going to do the exact same thing here, and we're going to repeat this process until we come up with our semi-annual pricing. These are semi-annual rates, and they correspond to annual rates, 0.072 for the 5-year plain vanilla swap, 7.6522 for the forward swap, 3 to 5 years, and the 08708s for the forward swap covering years 5 through 7. The key rate is this SFR right here. Notice 5-year plain vanilla SFR that's what we computed, is that number for the 5-year plain vanilla swap, because this is the rate on the swap that the manager would like to be able to either cancel at year 3 or extend from year 5 to 7. To make the plain vanilla swap extendable, we have seen that the manager will require a payer swaption. Given her situation, the necessary payer swaption will have a maturity of 5 years, a strike rate equal to SFR on the plain vanilla swap of 724 here, an underlying swap with a tenure of 2 years, semi-annual payments, and a notional principal of $50 million. We have seen that for this forward swap, the swap rate is 8.708 here, and we assume that the volatility of the forward rate is 0.15. This gives the information necessary to value the payer swaption. The DISA 1, DISA 2, and terms are as follows. DISA 1, we're going to use this 8708 here, divide this by 7240 here, plus our timeline, the volatility times the term, 5 years, divided by 0.15 standard deviation, gives us DISA 1. DISA 2 is 7156 above minus 0.15 times the standard deviation equals 3802. Based on this information, we can use normal distribution, link it to C58, and then we can use that for C60. And then the ultimate, here's the payer swaption price. Okay, the cost of the payer swaption is 1.2 million. The cost of swaptions is often expressed in basis points of the notional principal. So this is 245 basis points. To make the swap cancelable after 3 years, the manager will require a receiver swaption with a maturity of 3 years and a strike rate equal to the rate of 7240. Again, we have to go back up here. We're looking at that 3602.396, which is the log normal. Okay, we're going to use this same formula here, and we're going to crunch this number for DISA 1 and DISA 2. Look at these numbers here and just go up the top, and you can plug and chug. Normal distribution, DISA 1, DISA 2. The cost of this is $355,000 or 71 basis points. The cost of the payer swaption is $355,000. The cost of the swaption equates to 71 basis points or $355,000. In some, our manager plans to enter a 5-year plain vanilla swap at a rate of 7.24% with a notional principal of $50 million. She would like to be able to cancel the swap after 3 years, which costs $355,000 or 71 basis points. She would also like to be able to extend the swap for 2 additional years at the end of year 5. The payer swaption necessary to meet this desire is 1.2 million or 245 basis points. Together, these two swaptions will cost 1.58 million or 31.42 basis points. Paying over 3% of the notional principal of a swap is expensive insurance for not being able to make up your mind about the necessary tenure of the swap. Both options cannot be used as they are mutually exclusive. The manager might be able to salvage some value from at least one option that will not be exercised, but it might be better or to rethink her strategy of the swap and the flexibility that is really necessary in canceling or extending the swap. In other words, this is not a good idea. But it's a good illustration of the flexibility of the data available and how you can manipulate it. Brad Williams, Frugal Finance. Thanks for watching.